Welcome to Big Shoulders, the show where we explore the civic technology space here in Chicago. I'm Adam Heckman. I'm Microsoft's Director of Technology and Civic Innovation for Chicago. And with me is my good friend Chris Foreman from AvePoint. Chris, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thanks for having me.
Chris is the North American CEO for AvePoint. Tell us a little bit about who AvePoint is and what do you do in the city space?
Sure. So AvePoint enables enterprises to collaborate across platforms and devices, which is probably a very general term, but
I could say the same thing about Microsoft, by the way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you make all people happy. I think that's
right.
But no, AvePoint. So we say depending on where you want to collaborate or where your audience hopes to collaborate, we'll follow you there. We'll enable it. So if it's a matter of needing our software to help stabilize and secure a collaboration environment, we are a software company. If it's maybe you're not exactly sure, how you need your constituents to collaborate, we can help get you there with some solutions that we built that you can take off the shelf and use. If you're starting from scratch and you just need some good ideas on how to engage or collaborate within your environment, then we can bring a services team to sort of help and consult you on how to do that.
Well, you had mentioned that you do this for enterprises, but cities and government in general is a very, let's say it's a nuanced type of an enterprise. Mm-hmm. So what motivated you to get into this space to be basically helping cities?
Sure. Well, prior to sort of being responsible for our North American business, I was CEO of AvePoint Public Sector, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of AvePoint that is dedicated towards federal, state, and local government. And when we take the collaboration message to the government, a lot of people can say that might be an oxymoron. That there's not a lot of collaboration within government and or even with citizens. So that was an exciting time for us. And so we started talking to governments on how they collaborate internally, between departments, or even between cities, between counties, between states, with even allies, coalition partners across militaries around the world, but also how they collaborate with their citizens. And what really sort of motivated me in this space is that, just last year I was sitting down with the governor's office of one of the most progressive commonwealths in the country, and
Commonwealth.
And they had suggested, or I had suggested to them, that they could really advance and modernize some of their town halls, and we've been speaking to some mayors, in the state about the next generation of town halls, and leveraging the internet and leveraging collaborative technologies in order to adopt. Or bring in more comment, bring in more thought. And the response to that was, well, we can't do that. That's illegal.
Go back again. It's illegal to make that collaboration more open and available and
over the web.
Because it's virtual, because it's over the web.
Right. So it's virtual. So of course, it's dumbfounded. I kind of asked her, explain to me, what exactly that means, because I know that states are more progressive with open meetings laws, and I know they're on the books here. So why is it that this is illegal? So
you would think it makes it that much more open,
right? Make it more accessible. But open meetings laws, the way that they are today, they allow for open comment and open feedback in a more structured physical environment. And they don't allow, or they don't necessarily, they can't collect comment or opinion from a virtual environment. So to say that you might be live streaming a town hall meeting or live streaming a city council meeting where you're receiving feedback, that the mechanism of sort of receiving that feedback in a virtual environment or on the web is not currently supported, not currently enabled by the statutes as they are on the books today. So when I hear that, I said, well, this is an amazing opportunity. One, to not only influence the laws and influence the citizens' accessibility to the government, but to really open our office holders' minds and our government's minds as to what they can be doing differently.
So it's very well known. It's policy is famously behind in terms of speed and adoption of technology, and the technology obviously moves very fast. But democratic principles are democratic principles, and if technology can enable those, Tell us a little bit about the opportunity for technology to help cities, states, counties to better engage with citizens, to build more efficient operations, to do those kinds of things that light up those democratic principles.
Yeah, so I think there's enormous opportunity, and I think right now in a lot of cities, both big and small, there's a motion around civic hacking. I mean, you're obviously familiar with that, and are leading in the city of Chicago in that space. And I think that for city officials to pay more attention to what's happening in that space, get more feedback, see what sort of unique apps are being developed in that space, but also for companies like AvePoint to start developing in that space. So companies who have a software background, companies who have a development life cycle, companies who can build programs, can build products that are sustainable for the long term. I think a lot of cities are maybe they're hesitant to adopt these technologies that are being built because they're not sure that the company building is going to be here, 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road to where the technology will be stable enough. But companies like AvePoint can develop in this space and invest in this technology because we can sustain it. We're familiar doing this. We have a track record, and we've been supporting these clients in other ways. Regarding collaboration, now this is sort of a next step, and so we want to go further into this space.
And AvePoint certainly is not a new kid on the block. You guys have been around for a while. Let's get a little bit more specific. Tell me some of the tools that you build for government and for citizen engagement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're a 14-year-old company, and we've been growing up. And a lot of people say we still feel like a 14-year-old startup because we're still growing rapidly. As far as we're concerned, the ceiling is very high for our company. The market potential is huge, and so what we've historically done is build technologies that sort of sit behind the scenes. They help keep everything up and running smoothly. They keep it secure. They keep it accessible.
It being on the government side.
Sure. Well, whatever
or the enterprise side,
collaborative platform that
right.
you're using, so if you have an enterprise technology, and there are a lot of technologies that government uses, be it from other larger enterprises like Microsoft to open source technologies and what have you. There's cloud technologies that people are adopting as well. And AvePoint typically has produced software that sort of sits behind the scenes. But this is AvePoint sort of stepping out and helping to facilitate collaboration. And our first major step in that space was a product called Podium. And Podium is a virtual town hall. So imagine a mayor, standing in front of a camera, standing in front of a room of people, conducting a town hall, where typically the comment comes in from a very limited set of people, and a very limited set of the population can actually attend a town hall.
When it's an offline town hall.
Right. And it's in current form, in a physical setting, a city hall or a government building center, community center, something like that. And they're often hosted, after work hours because they're trying to get people to come after work in order to participate. But people have families, people have obligations, they can't make it. But if you could access it, from your home, from the bus, from a train, then you might be able to reach a greater and wider audience out there. So we built this to be able to live stream video in a town hall over the web, but also to receive comment through chat, to take questions, to even provide responses to questions live while the town hall is going on, both from the person who's providing the town hall, but also even support staff who can respond to questions even more quickly that don't necessarily require the person giving the town hall the response. So now we're able to take a larger volume of questions. We're servicing a larger volume of constituents, sort of reaching a wider audience, getting a bigger impact.
And most importantly, you can curate those questions and then have a better sense for what the public wants to see.
Right, because you find, unfortunately, a lot of places that people in the constituency, they don't know where to voice their concerns, right? So a lot of times they see a town hall, they see the mayor's going to be speaking, and they want to take that opportunity to go and speak to their one specific problem that really impacts them only. And a lot of that time is in the town hall is dedicated towards addressing that one person's issue, where the mayor in front of the town hall is not really even the right person in the government to address it. It's clear they should be able to hear that citizen out, that we're not stopping something like that, and that's why we record that. but it doesn't really maximize the time that the executive has in front of the audience if you're just dealing with one person's specific issue. So we can take things like that and bring them in a different channel, address them, while the mayor or whomever is giving the town hall can address the wider issues.
And of course, we're using the mayor as an example here, but this is appropriate for any public official that wants to get deeper engagement out of their citizenry and their constituency, right?
Yeah, I've just been shocked actually, because that's what we first thought. So mayors, governors, people doing town halls, but then we started looking at all the different people in the government who have a message that has to reach this wide audience,
And vice versa.
and need comment back from
Right.
the citizens, right?
Right.
And so we're finding people in finance, we're finding people in budgeting, we're finding people in parks and recreation, we're finding people in streets and sanitation, you're finding people in utilities, you find just an enormous amount of people who are out there communicating with citizens who need to get a message out, receive feedback. And so it's way beyond, like you said, just the executive of a particular municipality.
So since we're talking about those officials, what advice, since this is Advisor TV, what advice do you have for a public official who wants to start taking advantage of these technologies to better engage with their citizens?
Oh, I think it's create a platforms for you to receive comment. I think a lot of people are concerned, well, if I open my doors and say, let anyone come in and sort of pitch me, then I'm going to be inundated with all these requests, and I can't make commitments. I can't buy from everybody. I can't, adopt everybody's technology. But just create a platform for how people can give feedback, who are in this technology space, who care, not only about modernizing their own government, but just modernizing government in general and where their tax dollars are going, and who have experience in this space. Because we can't expect that our city leaders, our government leaders are going to be experts in technology. So they need to get input from somewhere. So I say create a platform, but also just be open to other suggestions, and then do something about it. Do something about adopt a change or bring in some new technologies.
Sage advice. Chris Foreman, North American CEO of AvePoint, thank you very much. This has been Big Shoulders.